Hey everyone, I'm going to do a quick tutorial on track mattes. I'm going to start with a blank project and just build something from scratch. So I'm going to start with right here. This is the create new composition button. I do that and it automatically set from the previous composition, 500 by 500, 4-second duration. That's fine, so I'll hit OK. And you get this blank composition with no layers or anything inside of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really nice text reveal from a moving line. So the first thing I'm going to do is make an animated line. I'll do that by going to Layer, New, Solid. And the color doesn't really matter. And it's automatically the composition size. So I'm just going to hit OK. And I get this full color solid. So what I'm going to do after that is go to the pen tool right here. And I'm just going to draw 2 points. By holding Shift and clicking, I'll get a completely straight line. I'm going to go to my effects window right here, and I'm going to search for stroke. And you can see down here under generate, there's stroke. So I'm going to drag and drop this into layer. And as you can see, it makes a default white line with the first path that I drew on the solid. So from there, I'm going to go to the Effect Controls window right here, which typically is right next to the Project tab in a blank project. And what you can do is take this end value and drag it to 0. And you can also take the start value and go from 0 to 100. So what I'm going to do is animate this line drawing on. So I'm going to start at 0 right here, starting it with the end value being 0%. Hit the stopwatch, and I'm going to go forward 1 second, and I'm going to drag it to 100%. And you don't see the keyframes right here because it's kind of buried inside the effects section of your parameters. There's a great shortcut you're going to end up using a lot, and that is the keystroke U. What U does is it shows you all of your animated properties in a list. Instead of having to dig down into all of your parameters, you can just hit U and you can see the animated keyframe parameters in your layer. So as you can see, I have is a 0 to 100 end value. And I'm going to go to the end of that animation. I'm going to hit the stopwatch for the start value. And you can see it hasn't shown up here yet because it's a new animation. So I'll hit U again, and here it is showing up. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to drag it 1 more second long, and I'm going to drag the start value to 100. So what's going to happen is that. I'm going to go into the graph editor with these 2 parameters. And you can see it's very linear. I'm going to drag these down. For both the beginning and the end of the animations. I'll do the Control 0 so I can see a real-time playback. Now that's okay. What I want to do is I'm going to drag this first one out like that. I'm going to drag the last one out too, the same way. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a easing into and easing out of the animation. Well, I'm going to do this too as well. Give it a little bit of a pause when it's at its full length. Do that. So that's going to be kind of like the way that we're going to reveal this text coming up. And we're going to use track mats to do it. So the next step is to make another solid. And you can do that with this shortcut right here if you want. Command Y. It's going to be another red solid, so I'm going to make this just in a different color just to make sure I know it's a different solid. I'm going to drag this by holding shift and dragging so it stays in the same horizontal dimension. We'll drag it right here to be right at the line. And then after that, I'm going to go to the text tool right here. And I'm just going to say something. I'll make a second one. Go back to the type tool. I'll make a second text by going back up to this tool right here. I'm going to drag it down to be right here. So if I turn off this blue solid, go back to the middle of the line animation, I'm going to place these just a little bit above the line. Kind of even them out. Make them a little bit smaller so they stay within the length of that line. So right now it's pretty boring, but that's fine. It'll be cooler in a second. What I'm going to do then is select both these text layers, hit P for position. Because I have them both highlighted, I can hit the stopwatch and both of them will start a keyframe for both layers. So I did that. I'm going to move back to the beginning. I'm going to move the U up and the hay down. I'm going to take this blue solid, I'm going to drag it above the U. I'm going to do Command D to duplicate, drag that above the hay, and I'm going to select the hay, go to the track mat, select Alpha Mat, Royal Blue Solid 1 because it's right above the hay. So it's going to disappear. I'll explain why in a second. Do the same thing for the U, Alpha Mat. See, now what happened is because this became the track mat, automatically gets turned off. And these two icons show up. This is the icon of the mask. This is the icon of the layer that's being revealed or track matted by the track mat. Because this layer is right here, even though it's turned off, it's revealing the U. Now when I turn this, when I play this animation, it disappears. That's because this layer ends right here. So as the U exits that layer, it disappears. So what I want to do instead of an alpha track mat, I want to do an alpha inverted track mat. So instead of revealing the layer based on where this solid layer is, it reveals it based on where it's not, the inverse of where it is. So the U is being track matted by the inverse, by where this layer isn't. the hay is being revealed by where this layer is, alpha versus alpha inverted. Because they're both in the same position. But because I'm doing the opposite of the hay layer for the U layer, I can use the same solid in the same position to do the same thing. Okay, it's pretty basic. And what I'm going to do next, which I'm sure you're getting used to now, I'm going to command select both position values of the hay and the U, go to the graph editor, and I'm going to select both of these keyframes at the same time and drag them down. And give it a nice, pretty sharp exponential ease. Let's do a Control-0 preview and see how it looks. So I want these two words to reveal right around the same time as this line becomes full length. So, like that. It's a little bit too fast right now, so I'm going to drag these keyframes a little bit longer so the animation is a little bit slower. Now that's nice, but it'd be nice to do a little bit of offset. So I'm going to move the hay to be a little bit ahead of the U, just to give it a little bit of variation. One more principle that's nice in motion design. And of course, now that I've made it faster, now that I've made it appear earlier, it kind of pops out before the line's completed. So I'm going to take this first animation of the line and drag it forward so it happens faster. Do a Control-0.